Hello, welcome to episode 33 in the Datapack tutorial series. We're going to be getting the player's name. We're going to use it to name an item. We're going to use it to name an item with some extra text. And we're going to store the player's name into storage in case we want to use it later. So let's crack on with that. Let's pop over to VS Code and we'll make some files and folders. In fact, I do need a folder. I need a loot table folder. Let's do some new files first. We'll do give emerald with name. Okay, we'll have that one. Give an emerald with a name, and I'm going to copy and paste that. And we'll say, well, this one we want to do with a name and some extra text, so we'll call it give emerald with text, and we'll have a new file called store name, because we'll also save the name into storage. Okay, that looks all right. We're going to need some loot tables, so let's do give emerald with name first. So in our namespace, new folder, which will be a loot table, and in there we'll have a new file, and we'll give it the same name as the function, give emerald with name. And let's pop over to Misode and make that. So we'll need a pool. Inside of how many times are we going to roll? We're going to roll one time, so they're going to get the item once. Entries, it's going to be an item. It's going to be an emerald. I'm going to run a function on that emerald. The function I'm going to run is to set its name. And we'll say entity is this. Name is a selector. And the select will be at S. Okay, we're done. Let's grab that. Take that back to VS Code and paste it in. Now, with the name, I just like to put it all onto one line sometimes, because now it's just easier to see that it is just actually same as tell raw. So we can copy that. Let's copy that. Copy. And pop over to Minecraft. And if I do a tell raw at P, selector at S, it says my name. There we go. So it's already got my name. Right, so that's what we're going to be using. Let's go back and write our function. So function, give emerald with name, loot, give to the thing running this command, loot, and I'll say my loot table, give emerald with name. Save. Now this is running at S, the entity running the command. So if I run it, let's do a reload. So this button here is just running this command, reload. If I run it, function, give emerald with name, I get an emerald that, funnily enough, has my name. If I want to run it in a command block, function, give emerald with name, well, it's going to try and give the command block an emerald. And the command block doesn't like emerald, so it refuses. So I need to run this as me, so we'll execute as the nearest player, I'll say, because that is me. Run that function, and now I get the emerald again. Okay, so we've done the easy one, doing it so we get the name. Let's add some extra text to that name. So the first thing, I'm just going to copy this loot table and paste it in again, and I'm going to change it, and we'll call it give emerald with text. Okay, now we're going to change the selector. So this is, again, it's just like sort of like tell raw. We can play around in the tell raw. Let's go back to Minecraft and let's get our tell raw command back up that we used. There it is. So we could put extra stuff in here. So we could make it green. We could give it a color green. Okay, that works. We could probably make it bold as well. In fact, for bold, you don't need the extra speech marks. We'll just have bold, true. Well, that works. Okay. We can add some extra text. So let's say this is one entry. Let's surround it with square brackets and put in another entry. And this will have some text. And the text for this one will be apostrophe S emerald. So it's going to be Infernal Devices emerald. Let's run that. Infernal devices emerald. Now you can see it's grabbed the bold and the colour from this first one. And it's just continued to use that. Now we could override it if we wanted to. We could say colour equals gold and overwrite it. Right. So we've got it working in Telraw. All I'm going to do is I'm going to copy all of that from my little bit of testing. Copy. And I'm going to go to my loot table, give emerald with text, and I'm just going to change that bit there that we used before. So we'll paste that in instead. There we go. I'm going to save that. I am going to go to give emerald with name. I'm going to copy that command there. And I'm going to copy it into give emerald with text. And I'm just going to change that end bit to use the new loot table. Done. Let's go and try that one out. Don't forget to reload. I'll copy that command block with its command, control middle mouse, and I'll just change that to our new function. Pop a button on, press the button. Infernal devices emerald. Excellent. So we've done the two easier ones. We have used our name while naming something. Right, now let's store the name. Okay, so I'm going to go back here. We are going to need to summon. I'm going to use an item display. So when the let's go into the load function because that's where I'm going to be doing some stuff. So ignore that one. That's just my loading message with some advertising. We're going to run this function and just summon an item display unless that item display already exists. So I want to give it a UUID that I know. So what I did is I just went to Google and I said UUID Minecraft generator, and that gave me this. And it's got generate random. Well, so I can generate loads of randoms. Works for me. So I'm just going to copy this hexadecimal one. I think I've got a little data bit there. I'm going to just copy that. Copy. And I'm going to go load, and I'm going to say execute unless entity that UUID, then run summon item display at no coordinates. That's what I'm going to put for now. So what it's going to do is it's going to load and it's going to say, well, does an entity with this UUID already exists? If it doesn't, then I will summon this item display. If it does, I'll do nothing. Now, what we need to do is summon this item display with the same UUID, but it takes its UUID in a different format. So we're going to have open and close curlies, UUID, and I'm going to put a colon. And now if I go back to that generator, we've got UUID here, this one here, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now I can just actually press copy that data button, and it's going to copy all of those for me. And it's also going to copy the little bits at the end, square bracket I. So let's go back and pop that there. Now those two UUIDs are the same, they're just in different formats. So, does the item display exist? If it does, I will do nothing. If it doesn't, I will summon that item display. Cool, so now we've got one item display. A point to note is that this must be summoned in loaded chunks. So probably you're going to summon it at spawn, because those chunks are always loaded, and you don't have to do it here. You could do it sort of down deep in the ground where no one's ever going to see it, hidden in bedrock. Right, we're going to use that because we're going to set the name on that. So let's do a new loot table. I think we'll just call it player head. That will probably do. New file, player head. playerhead.json. Okay. Now, I'm going to want to get the player head and stick it onto that item display. So let's go over to Misode, and we're going to make a new loot table. Let's get rid of some of this. Okay, roles 1. We'll keep roles 1. Type. So we need an entry. type. This time, item. Oh, that's the same as last time. Name. This time we're looking for player head. Player. There it is. Player head. Okay, and we want to run a function on that. And the function we are going to run is going to be called fill player head. And the entity will be this. Okay, so let's copy that. And let's pop that into our player head loot table. Seems happy. Okay, let's save everything. How do I shut these windows down? Someone did. There we go. Helpful shortcut there. That was Victor Voxel told me that one. How to shut down all the open windows. Thank you very much. Right. So we've made our player head JSON. Let's use that in store name. I'm going to need to use the UUID. So let's go back to load first. Let's get this UUID that we generated. Copy. And let's go back to store. And we're going to loot replace entity. That UUID, so that's our item display and will only ever be our item display. And we're going to change its container 0. We're going to put some loot in there, and the loot we're going to put in there is going to be player head. Save that. And now we want to copy the name from the item display into storage. So we should be able to do data modify storage ID name. Let's put it into data. We might have some other stuff in data from leftover tutorials. So data modify storage ID data into the name. We'll set from entity. We'll use the UUID again. So we're not using a selector, which is nice. We are targeting that entity directly. From its item dot components dot, I believe it is called Minecraft. I think it's profile. Let's have a look. Profile, yes. And then the Minecraft profile is containing a name. Oops, I've put a comma. Okay, so we're going to go to storage ID data name, and we're going to set it from only this UUID, which saves time because we don't have to go any entity type equals item display and find the item display. We know what we're targeting, and we're going to get the item components to profile name. Okay, so we've got a store. Let's go off and try that. Okay, do a reload. Now what we'll probably see is the head appear around here somewhere because we just said where the data pack is running. Let's do, I just did a reload. Let's do a reload again for no reason. Let's do function store name. There's the head. Okay, so you might want to not put it at those coordinates. You might want to put it deep down in the ground. That's not a problem. In fact, it looks like it's got my head though. It does indeed. Oh dear. And we should now be able to do data get from storage ID data. There's my name. Oh, we've got a little bit of junk in there left over from some other tutorial. We've got inv and clear. They're from a different. Let's get rid of them. Data remove from storage ID data inv, and those are from the last tutorial. So now if we do the data get, we'll just have the name in there. So if we want to reference that, we can do ID data name, and there's the name. So we've saved the name and we've put it onto items. Cool. As I say, you'd want to bury that deep down underground. As long as it's in loaded chunks. You could put it millions of chunks away and just force load the chunk. The player's never going to find it. Cool. I think, considering what we were doing, this has taken long enough. So I will let you go. Take care. Have a nice day. See you soon. Bye-bye.